Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're diving into a topic that honestly affects all of us, whether we realize it or not: accessibility. We're going to connect the dots between how we design our homes and how we build our websites, really focusing on how we can create a world that respects the dignity of our aging parents, grandparents, and, well, our future selves. Okay, so why is this so urgent right now? Let's just start with a number, a really big one. By the year 2040, it's projected that the US will have almost 81 million adults over the age of 65. That's a huge and rapidly growing part of our society. And that number, it forces us to ask a pretty tough question. As our loved ones, and eventually as we get older, have we actually designed our world, our homes, our communities, our websites, to support them? The answer, way too often, is a hard no.
So, let's get into it. Here's our game plan. We're going to kick things off with why this all matters so much. Then we'll explore three key areas: vision, mobility, and cognition, and draw some really surprising parallels between physical and digital design. And we'll wrap up by looking at how we can actually build a better, more accessible future.
First up, why does this matter now? Look, this isn't just about designing for one specific group of people. It's about a universal truth that's kind of beautiful when you think about it. Good, accessible design almost always ends up helping every single one of us.
This quote perfectly captures this amazing idea called the curb cut effect. The whole concept is super simple. When you design something to solve a problem for one group, the solution often benefits everybody. A ramp for a wheelchair user, it's also a lifesaver for a parent with a stroller or a delivery person with a heavy cart. And that exact same principle applies online. When you build a more accessible website, it becomes easier for everyone to use. And the stakes in the physical world, they are incredibly high. Get this, about half of all falls that send seniors to the hospital happen right inside their own home. And the major hotspots are the bathroom and the stairs. These are real, serious dangers lurking in the very places we're all supposed to feel the safest. So, to tackle these kinds of challenges in the digital world, thankfully, we've got a set of standards. The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG for short, are basically the international rulebook for building websites that actually work for everyone. It covers concrete stuff like making sure colors have enough contrast, that you can navigate with just a keyboard, and that everything is clearly labeled. It's all about making sure the digital world is open to all.
All right, let's move on to our first big challenge: vision. As we all get older, the changes in our eyesight can create some surprisingly similar roadblocks, both online and in our own homes.
I mean, just look at this parallel. That faint, light gray text on a white background that designers seem to love, that's the digital version of a dimly lit staircase. Both make it incredibly hard to see what you're doing. And website that completely falls apart or becomes unreadable the second you try to zoom in, that's just as frustrating as trying to navigate a room where a bare light bulb is creating so much glare you can't see properly. So how do we fix this stuff online? Well, it starts with some pretty clear rules. Using high contrast text is absolutely essential for readability. Making sure a web page doesn't break when you zoom in gives users control. And this is a big one. Never, ever use color as the only way to give someone information. That way, no one misses out on vital clues. And you know what's wild? In our homes, the logic is exactly the same. It's all about improving light and contrast. Brighter bulbs, maybe some high-contrast tape on the edge of the stairs, these are the physical versions of good web design. They're simple, often cheap fixes that make a world of difference in safety and confidence. Okay, now let's talk about mobility. And this is where the physical and digital worlds really collide. For someone with arthritis or maybe reduced motor control, the challenges of navigating a cluttered hallway and a badly designed website can feel exactly the same.
Just think about it for a second. The root problem is often a loss of fine motor control. Trying to click a tiny little hyperlink with a shaky hand? That requires the same kind of precision that makes turning a small round doorknob almost impossible if you have arthritis. In both cases, the design is literally working against the user's body. A cluttered hallway is just the physical version of a website you can't use without a mouse.
You want to feel what this is like for yourself? Seriously, try this. It's a super simple test, but it is so eye-opening. Go to one of your favorite websites, unplug your mouse, and just use the tab key to get around. Can you get to everything? Is there a clear highlight so you know where you are? For millions of people, this isn't a test. It's their everyday reality.
This quote from Eileen Shannon's story, man, it just brings it all home. She had installed grab bars in the bathroom for her mother-in-law. But later, after she got sick herself, she was the one who needed them.
It's such a powerful reminder that accessibility isn't about designing for them, it's about designing for the future us.
Okay, next up, let's talk about cognition. This is so important. As we age, things like memory and concentration can change. And a confusing environment, whether it's a website or a room in your house, can be incredibly overwhelming and stressful.
And we're not talking about a small issue here. Not at all. According to the CDC, about 40% of adults aged 65 or older have at least one disability, and many of these can impact cognitive function. So designing for clarity means designing for a huge portion of the population.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. When a website is unpredictable, when clicking a link does something you totally didn't expect, or the navigation menu just changes on every single page, it creates frustration for everybody. It feels like the design is actively fighting you.
So the solution, whether you're online or in your house, boils down to one simple word: predictability. Having consistent navigation on a website is like keeping the furniture in the same place at home. Clear button labels like Submit Application are the digital version of labeled kitchen cabinets. It's all about creating an environment where people feel confident and in control. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? Where do we go from here? Let's bring it all together, because this is about so much more than just a checklist of features. It's a whole mindset.
These right here, these are the core principles that tie everything we've talked about together. Prioritizing clarity with good lighting and high contrast text, supporting movement with physical grab bars and digital keyboard navigation, ensuring predictability with consistent layouts, and always remembering that designing for one person's needs often ends up making things better for everyone.
And that's because, at the end of the day, this is not about meeting some technical standard or checking boxes off a list. It's a commitment. It's a commitment to letting people live their lives with independence and dignity. It's about respecting their ability to navigate the world, both physical and digital, on their own terms.
So this last question isn't just for the web developers or the home contractors out there. Nope, this is for all of us. Maybe it's helping a parent install some brighter light bulbs or a grad bar. Maybe it's taking a minute to send feedback to a company when their website is just impossible to use. Or maybe it's as simple as looking at the world around you a little differently and noticing the barriers that you never even saw before. So, what one change will you make?